God bless you, loved ones. Welcome to the Word with Chester. Today we'll continue study in the 16th chapter of the book of Numbers. I do appreciate all of you for logging on. I realize I have not been consistent as I should, and I offer you no great excuse, but I am a very busy man. I ask that you pray for me, that God will give me the strength to do all the things that He has set me out to do. We are grateful to God because He's opening many doors for us, and in doing so, it keeps us a little bit busy. But I do thank God. I would rather be busy doing something for Him than sitting at home doing nothing. But I thank God that He has given me gifts to use, and I do appreciate Him for that. I ask that you pray for us, that God will get the glory out of all that we do. Let me also make a couple of announcements. God has opened doors for us. We will be, they will write an article about us in the Coast to Coast magazine in the April edition. I encourage you to get that magazine and read what they have to say about me and my work. God is so good to us. And also we'll be singing in Austin, Texas on the 19th day of March. That's this month, the 19th day of March, we'll be singing. I am a songwriter and a published poet, and our work is reaching farther than I had thought possible, you know, being me, a seasoned man with the gifts that I have. God is opening doors for me to be heard all over the world, and I appreciate the Lord for that. Thank God for the amazing tool, the internet. God smiled on someone when that was invented, and it's been a blessing to everything, and we can do great things for a small amount of money nowadays, and I do appreciate God for opening that door, and we're taking advantage of that as the days go on. Well, in our last lesson, we read to verse 17. I think it's important for me to read verse 15. We won't conclude this chapter today, but I think we'll get down to about verse 35. But it is important for us to recap a little bit so you'll know where we're going. We might have new listeners. What we're doing is we're teaching through the Bible, verse by verse and chapter by chapter. And we've come a long ways, all the way through the New Testament, and now well on our way in the Old Testament scriptures. I encourage you, if you have a Bible, read along with us, and I will do all that I can to give some consistency to our lessons. I know I have not been presenting but a couple of lessons per week for the Word with Chester Ministries, whereas at one time we was airing 4 to 5 times a week. Now, when we started, that's a lot of episodes. Whether you know it or not, we have close to 900 sessions that we have taught that's on the World Wide Web. You can go to the World Wide Web, key in my name if you please. It should take you to part of it, or go to YouTube, the Word with Chester Ministries, and you can go all the way back to our archives. We have been broadcasting since April of 2011 with not quite 900, but well on our way to 900 sessions. Well, let's read today at verse 15. The Bible reads, "And Moses was very angry and said unto the Lord, Respect not thou their offerings. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them." Well, let's get the picture now. In our last lesson, we talked about they were some of the chief men of Israel. They came and talked to Moses, and they said some things like, you've taken too much upon yourself. You and Aaron have taken too much upon yourself, and all of the congregation is holy, and God can use any of us. He can use any of the congregation. And they talked to Moses, and in other words, they were telling Moses that they could do many of the things. You know, some things may be true, but the attitude that you say it in, the attitude that you come in, has a lot to do. You got to understand, God knows the intents of the heart, and they came at Moses in such a way, saying that you've made yourself a prince over us. You've made yourself like you are the potentate or the chief man around here. That's how they came at Moses. Moses. And Moses just made the statement. He was angry and said, respect not their offerings. I have not taken one ass from them. In other words, they never give me anything. I haven't taken one thing from them. All that I've been through and all that I have leading them out of Egypt and all the things that I've went through, I have not received one thing from them. We can read about it in Scripture where Aaron and his sons, they were given beautiful garments to wear as priests, but never nothing given to Moses for what he had done. And Moses just made that statement. I haven't taken one ass from them. Neither have I hurt one of them. I haven't hurt any of them. Well, you got to understand, they hurt their own self murmuring so much. They hurt themselves because they got right up to the promised land and believed an evil report or a bad report and began to be fearful and angered the Lord, and God would not let them go into the promised land at that time, and they had to go and wander further in the wilderness. Let's read 16. And Moses said unto Korah, be thou and all thy company before the Lord, thou and they and Aaron tomorrow. In other words, you come here tomorrow. All of you, Aaron and all of all of you heads that came out to talk to me as you have today. Now verse 17, and take every man his censer and put his incense in them, and bring ye before the Lord every man his censer, 250 censers, thou also, and Aaron, each of you his censer. In other words, bringing them before the Lord, their censers that they had. They put a fire in there, a method of worship, a fire in there, and incense in there, and it burned, and they brought them here. Moses saying, you bring them on that day. Now verse 18 reads, and they took every man his censer and put fire in them and laid incense thereon and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moses and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them and to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto all the congregation. Well, this man, this Korah, gathered them against Moses. Let me read it again. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them, and to the door of the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the Lord. And the glory of the Lord appeared unto all the congregation. I'm going to do more reading now, so you stay with us. And Moses spoken, and the Lord spoke unto Moses and to Aaron, saying, separate yourself from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. Can you understand? God is able to just speak a word and consume everybody, consume the entire congregation. Well, in verse 22, and they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirit of all flesh, shall one man sin, and wilt thou be angry with all the congregation? Are you going to be angry with the whole congregation because of a few folks sin, or because one man sinned? Get the picture. God was ready to consume them, and this same man that they came out against had to stand and plead a cause for them, so God would not slay them all. God would not consume them all. And you better watch a prophet of the Lord. He's got the power and the authority to speak good on you, and he's got the power and authority to speak bad on you. Moses fell in defense of the entire congregation because God was getting ready to smite them all. Verse 19, and Korah gathered the congregation against them unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto all the congregation. Verse 20, and the Lord spoke unto Moses unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, separate yourself from among this congregation, that I will consume them in a moment. And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirit of all flesh, shall one man sin, and will thou be angry with the whole congregation? Verse 23, and the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, speak unto the congregation, saying, get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan and Abiram. Get away from there. Get ye up from that place. Verse 25, and Moses rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke unto the congregation, saying, depart, I pray you, from the tent of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in their sin. So they got up from the tabernacle of Korah and Dathan and Abiram on every side. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives and their sons and their little children. And Moses said, hereby ye shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them in mine own mind. Moses going to letting them know that you're going to know today that God sent me to do this. You're going to know now that God sent me to do this. And I didn't concoct something in my own mind. Do I need to read that again? And Moses said, hereby ye shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them in mine own mind. 29 reads, if these men die the common death of all men, in other words, live a full life and die of old age, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord hath not sent me. In other words, Moses is saying God's getting ready to do something here now. If it don't happen and these men live out their full lives like the normal man would die, then you know that I was not sent from the Lord. But God getting ready to do something here. Moses is warning them. Verse 30, but if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them up with all all that appertain unto them, and they go down alive unto hell, a Sheol, then ye shall understand that these men have provoked the Lord. In other words, God will do something so you'll know that you have provoked the Lord, or let the people see that the Lord has been provoked, and let it be so evident that you cannot mistake that God is in what is happening. Well, let's read verse 31, and it came to pass, as he had finished speaking all these words, that the ground split open, and was under them, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their goods. Can you see the ground open up and swallow them up? You got to get the picture now. Moses, in a prophetic word, said these things were going to happen before they happened. When Moses spoke that word, it was set in order. You got to get the picture. And God carried this thing out and opened up the ground, opened up the earth, and they fell in and they were swallowed. They were swallowed alive. They did not live a life like a normal man would and die in his seasoned years or in his older years. They were consumed immediately so that people could see the hand of God. Now let's read 32 again. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appeared unto Korah, and all their goods. Everything about them, all their goods, was consumed when the earth opened up. Verse 33, they and all that appertained unto them went down alive into hell. A Sheol went down when the earth opened up, and the earth closed upon upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. Can you understand? They came out against Moses. They came out with these words, even slanderous words. You done set yourself up as a prince above us, like you're the only one that God ever talked to. Can you understand their attitude? And God opened up the earth and swallowed them up. Right there in front of the congregation, in verse 34, and all Israel that was around about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. In other words, all of them got scared. The entire congregation began to run. Why? Because they could see the handiwork of God. And you got to understand, in the entire congregation, when a group of people rise up, you get a whole lot of people on your side. Now, some folks, that they might not ever say that they was on their side about ready to go over, but you got to understand, God knows all things. These men were afraid and they began to run. Now, let's read in verse 35. And there came out a fire from the Lord and consumed the 250 men that offered incense. Get the picture. Now, these 250 men were devout men in Israel. They were princes, if you please. They were somebody in Israel. They were well-known people, famous people in Israel. And these 250 men who were burning incense there, who were told to bring their incense and burn their incense. Well, God consumed them all in a fire. Well, let's get the picture, baby. All I'm saying is God is nothing to play with. You don't ever put yourself in a position to play with God. I don't do that myself. I tell you what, I'll stay all by myself and don't bother nobody, because God is no toy. You won't find me fighting against leaders. You won't find me trying to badmouth leaders. If I don't like what they're doing, I just get on away from them. Well, you got to understand, God is nothing to play with. It's not for you to fight against leadership. It's not for you to go against people He's placed in certain positions. Well, you got to get that picture also. God, when He stands up, you got to understand He will cause all of you to tremble, everyone to tremble. Why? So you'll know that He is God. And when He set things in order, you just live with it and abide by it. You may not understand everything. You may not really understand what's going on. But the thing about it, it's not yours to murmur and complain and try to turn the congregation against whoever. Because God had anointed Moses. He had anointed Moses to do what he was doing. They came out against him, and it angered the Lord. He swallowed many of them up. All of those that came out against him, He swallowed up in the earth. And all of those princesses, all of the people that all the ones that the people really admired, and the princesses are the famous folks there. The 250 men, He let fire consume them, just to know that God is the Lord, and that He was with Moses in all that he had done and was doing. I want you to know that I love you, my friends. I love you with the love of the Lord. If you would like to talk to me for any reason, you can write me at the Word with Chester Ministries, Post Office Box 2000603, San Antonio, Texas, 78220. Do I need to repeat that? Post Office Box 2000603, San Antonio, Texas, 78220. You can also reach me at my website, www.poemsbychester.com. Remember, I love you, my friends. I love you with the love of the Lord. God bless you.